Okay. Right. Okay, hey guys, can you hear me clearly and see my screen and see myself? If you are able to see me, see my screen and see and hear me clearly, please type it in the chat below so that I will know that you guys are able to um hear me and see me clearly. All right, as well as to see my screen. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. All right, great. Thank you. Okay, so now let's begin with the webinar series. Okay, today we will be going through the Magnificent 7 scorecard. All right, so as usual, this is the disclaimer. So remember that everything in this webinar is educational in nature and nothing should be construed as investment or trading advice. All right, so please remember to do your own due diligence before you guys trade. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, I'm your host for today. My name is Woon Hong, and I'll be going through with you guys today's webinar. All right. Okay, so very simple. Today, the agenda for today will be um, Max 7 overview, as well as Max 7 year-to-date returns, as well as lastly, technical analysis on the Max 7. All right. So Max 7, let's first take a look at the Magnificent 7 market capitalization. Okay, so far we have good news, right? The Max 7 is actually doing well for 5 out of 7 of it, right? So for the Nvidia, the market cap is 4.28 trillion, while the Microsoft is 3.8 trillion, right? Apple is 3.19 trillion. Okay, Amazon is 3.15 trillion, and also Google is 2.37 trillion, right? Later on in the next slide, I'll show you guys the increase of the year-to-date returns for the Max 7 pairs. All right, so for the Meta is 1.76 trillion, as well as Tesla 1.03 trillion. All right, so now let's take a look at which are the stocks that are doing well, while which are the stocks that are not doing well as of 29 July 2025. Okay, so Max 7 year-to-date returns, you can see Nvidia actually has an increase from the previous price, which is plus 30.72% year-to-date, while Meta is plus 19.75% year-to-date. Microsoft plus 22.07% year to date, Amazon plus 5.30% year to date, and lastly, Google plus 3.65% year to date. While Apple and Tesla actually has not recovered from the previous drawdown, right? Apple has a decrease in percentage-wise, minus 15.43% year to date, meaning that it has not recovered since the April lows. Okay, then we have Tesla. As we all know, Tesla has been on the downtrend, right? It has not been recovering since anytime soon. All right, so you can see negative 20.46% year-to-date returns. Okay, so for Max 7, right, a lot of people will think that, oh, since S&P 500 and the other indexes are doing well, right? But you can see Apple and Tesla are actually not doing well. So you might, if any of you have Nvidia, Meta, Microsoft, etc. in your portfolio, right? You might want to exclude Apple and Tesla. All right, because statistically speaking, right? Even though you can see right here, Apple and Tesla could possibly have an increase towards the end of the year, but August, right? August and September are the worst months, worst performing months in the year. Okay, so you might actually see even more decrease. Okay, so I would say be careful of what you invest in, right? It might have potential to recover, but as of August and September, there is a higher chance for it to um go in the downtrend instead. All right, so this is what I would like you guys to be careful of. Okay, so now let's take a look at the Max 7 technical analysis. Okay, looking at the, okay, so let's take a look at this SPX 500 index. Okay, so as of yesterday, right, we have 5 times in a row that S&P 500 index hit all-time high, right? That is actually quite um amazing because it is quite rare for to see an index having 5 times in a row hitting all-time highs. All right, so we might be able to see some correction. Okay, so if we are looking at the daily chart, okay, let's take a look at, okay, let's take a look at H4. Okay, if you were to take a look at H4 chart, right, you can see there might be a possibility for a pullback at this level. Okay, as well as this level right here. Okay, these two levels, why I chose these two levels as my pullback areas is because these pullback levels are fresh for the S&P 500, right? We might be able to see a bounce off from here to continue higher, right? As I said previously, August and September are one of the worst months in the year, all right? Statistically speaking, okay? Then the next support is also a overlap support level, right? Even though we have a slight fake out over here, but we have multiple touches, right? You can see multiple touches here. So this is a valid strong support. So if price comes down as well, we might be able to see another push upwards from here. Okay, so these are the two levels that I'm watching out for S&P 500. Okay, because we can see if you go to H1, we already start to see that price has broken the previous low. Okay, then we have to see if price closes below this low. If price closes below this low, right, then it's a possibility for it to come down to this first support level, right? Then we have a push upward as well, then probably come down again. Okay, this is what I'm looking at for S&P 500. Then also, if you guys look at the, let's just use you can see EMA 20 has already been crossed, right? The next level is EMA 50. All right, so let's see how price reacts to EMA 50. Okay, so far, my sentiments is that price will come down to this first support level, and then there is buy opportunities for S&P 500. All right. Then you can see, yeah, let's see. Okay, so if you focus on this RSI, if you focus on RSI, right? RSI still within the middle area right here. But if price actually comes down to this oversold area, right? Most likely it will happen when price reaches this first support. Okay. Once price reaches this first support and it is oversold, then we can enter buys. Okay. Just a overall outlook for S&P 500 because the Max 7 has a high weightage, for the S&P 500. Okay. So this is something that you have to watch out for as well. And then let's take a look at other confluences also. Okay, you can see right here. Okay, so let's highlight this area. Uh, Bullish standard box. Let's see. Okay, so this aligns with our first support, which is the 61.8% Fibo retracement level. Okay, so since we have this confluence and also looking at the possibility of price coming into this pullback support level, right? This is a nice area for a push upwards. Okay. And so far, right, if you take a look at the H4 Ichimoku cloud, it is still above the green Ichimoku cloud. If you go to H1, also above the green Ichimoku cloud. 30 minutes also within the green Ichimoku cloud. So there is a high possibility for it to continue its bullish momentum. All right. Then let's take a look at the first Max 7 stock, okay, which is Apple. All right. So if you take a look at Apple, okay, if you take a look at the daily chart, let me just off this. Okay. Pre-market price is 211.68. All right. Then a good level to buy from would actually be this area over here. You can see how if you draw the trend line, right? This bullish trend line, okay? There is a possibility for Apple to react to this level over here. Let me see. Where is I? Bullish. Yeah. Okay, so for Apple, I think a good area for you to buy from would actually be this level over here. Let me draw my okay, this first support. Okay, this is what I am looking at for Apple. Okay, so what I am looking at is for price because we are in a temporary uptrend for daily. Okay, you can see how price is constantly moving, could possibly move above this trend line. All right, and then react to this pullback support level over here. Okay, so with that in mind, let me see. Yeah, okay. So I like to use 61.8% fit level for these stocks. All right. So this is one of the area that I am looking at for Max 7. Sorry, for the Apple as well. Okay. So this is what I am looking at for Apple. So bullish. Okay. But one thing that you have to note, right, is to keep a slightly tighter stop loss, right? almost 1:2 risk to reward ratio, right? Why? It's because there is a possibility for price to actually break past this trend line, right? Break past this trend line, react to this, break past this trend line, retest and come down further. Okay, this is one possibility. So it's good to be able to enter off slightly around this area right here. Stop loss placed below this previous low, and then your TP is at this previous swing high. Okay, something like that, because your first obstacle, right, is this level over here. This would be your first obstacle, right? If price comes here, you buy to this level, this is your first obstacle, because price might come up and retest this trend line. Okay, so yes, once it reaches there, you can close half your position. Or if you are looking for the long run, if you are a day trader, right, then you can close half. If you are looking at it at the long run, right, then you can just hold your position. All right. Okay, now let's take a look at the next level, which is Microsoft. Okay, if you look at Microsoft, right, Microsoft has actually hit all-time highs all along, right, ever since this level right here, which is June. In June, Microsoft actually did very well, right? Due to positive sentiments of the company and its progression, right? So the first level that I am looking at, if you are looking at H4, okay, H4, one level that I'm looking at is this area. This will be my first support. Okay, then the next level that I am actually looking at is this level right here. Okay, I think if there is an opportunity, these two levels, even though it's quite close, right? But these two levels will be a nice area to enter buys, right? You can already see the price created something like a double top over here, right? This, and we are waiting for price to come down to this area and fill this gap. If you guys realize, right, for stocks, once you see gaps like this, right, some people like to do this thing called gap trading. Okay, so you see how, let me just remove all of this. You can see how, let me just mark the gaps. Then we have another gap here. Okay, we also, yeah, we also have another gap right here. Okay, you can see how price filled all these gaps, right? So we are expecting price to actually come down, fill this gap and go up. Okay, so this is, I think it's pretty straightforward for Microsoft. Okay, waiting for price to come down here, and I'm pretty sure it's right at the 78.6% Fibo retracement level. Let me see. Yeah, right on the dot, 78.6% Fibo retracement level. Okay. And then if you mark out, let me see. Look, let's take a look at projection. Okay, if you are taking a look at projection, we also have labels. Okay, we also have 100% Fibo projection over here together with our 78.6% Fibo retracement. Okay, so this is a good opportunity to scale into Microsoft. All right, then if you were to, let's say you were to enter Microsoft, Okay, stop loss phase here, take profit right about here. All right, if you are a day trader. But if you were to if you are like a long-term trader, then I suggest just scale into these two levels. One level, the first level would be 504, okay, 504, as well as 498. Okay, just DCA into these two levels. Okay, DCA into these levels, because the if you do your own research, right, you can see how Microsoft their earnings is pretty good. All right, and then this is what we are looking at. Okay, I think it's any questions so far, right? Any questions? If you guys have any questions along the way, please feel free to type it in the chat or the question box, and I will get to your question. All right. If there are no questions, you can just give a thumbs up or type in the chat, good to go, so that I can move on to the next stock, which is Nvidia. Okay, I think this should be fine. Okay, let's take a look at the next stock. We can see Nvidia also hitting all-time highs, right? We have so many stocks that are hitting all-time highs. Okay, so what are some levels that you can look at for Nvidia, right? Okay, the first level that you might be able to scale in, right, could be this first pullback support right here. Okay, the second level is actually this overlap support area right here. Okay, so why you can see how Nvidia reacts very nicely to these pullback levels. So I could expect price to react to this level and then continue its upward momentum. Because if you look at Nvidia, right, Nvidia has so much potential to create a lot of new softwares. Like they are leaning towards AI softwares as well. They are in the midst of creating new and innovative projects. All right. So if you do your research, you can see a lot of positive sentiments on Nvidia, projecting it to go up to at least 190 for the next price, right? Previously, it was 15. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, it was about 116. Yeah. Then they projected it to come up to at least 175, right? The next projection is actually another $15 more, which is 190. Okay, so this is what you might be looking at for Nvidia. Okay, if you were to take a look at the FIB levels, right, you can see 38.2% as well as 78. Okay, oops, wait, give me a sec. 38.2 and 78. Okay, this is what you might be able to look at for Nvidia. And then if you mark out, let me see. Yeah, we have very nice feeble confluence for this pullback support level, right? So you can DCA into these two levels. First level is 173, and the next level could be this area, which is 166. Okay, for it to come up to this level or this level as well. All right. However, if you are a day trader, right? If you are a day trader, what you could be looking at is this area, stop loss, if then go to H1. 1:2 risk to reward ratio, right? Or you could put your stop loss slightly lower, right? But I would say this is a bit riskier. So I would say extend it a little bit more, okay? And put your TP at the next high, okay? Some day traders might be able to be on the riskier side, right? Then they might go for a higher risk to reward ratio. Okay, so but I would suggest just DCA because you're holding stocks is not a if you notice, right, we always have a lot of swings, especially during April where we have the tariffs, right? Um, we have a lot of we had a huge drop in April. Let me see, April. Yep, you can see how we have a huge drop in April. So stocks basically time time in the markets is better than timing the market. All right. So I would suggest to continue DCAing at multiple levels. Okay. Then if you were to look at, let's take a look at, yeah, if you see right here, if you look at the stochastic, right, most probably once it reaches this level over here, it will be oversold for this stochastic level. Then you can enter buys. Okay, so let's take a look. Yeah, Ichimoku cloud on the H1 is still above the bullish cloud, so it's good for buys. H4 definitely, and then dailies definitely above. Okay, if 30 minutes, usually I'll take a look at 30 minutes H and H1. All right, 30 minutes H, 15 minutes is also fine. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and H1 to see if the Ichimoku cloud aligns with my analysis. If it does, then it adds more confluence that the price will bounce off from this level. Okay, this is what I am looking at for NVIDIA. All right, so now let's move on to Tesla. Okay, so Tesla is a little bit tricky, right? Because Tesla, you can see right here previously, wow, it has such a good price, right? But as of right now, Tesla is still indecisive. It's within this area whereby it is consolidating, waiting to either break up to the outside, upside, or break up to the downside. Okay, so let's take a look at how we might be able to navigate from here. Okay, so if you take a look at these levels, right? Okay, you can see how price might. Let's take a look at daily. Okay, so this level is a good opportunity for buys. Okay, this level is a good opportunity for buys. Why? It's because firstly, we want it to react to this trend line, right? Then this is a nice order block as well, right? Even though we didn't really have a proper break over here, it will be good if we have a break of structure, okay? But we didn't have it. Okay, so what I am looking at is for price. See how price reacts to this area. Okay, if it is hovering above here, close above, then we can enter. All right, so this is what, if you were to look at in, okay, then if you were to enter this level, okay, right about here, stop loss probably below here. we are always going for that 1:2. Okay, why I would suggest to mark out this level is because price is trading within this zone and it will continue to hover unless it breaks out towards the upside. For example, break up towards the upside or break up towards the downside. Okay, so Tesla is very unstable right now. So I would suggest to take a pause on this pair, this stock, and then look at other stocks to invest in. All right. Because for Tesla, I would suggest only trade once we have clear confirmation. If you take a look at EMA, right? If you look at such a messy EMA, right, it doesn't give you that confidence, right, to actually enter for Tesla, right? Because you know that it's a long-term game, right, for Tesla to recover. Okay, it wouldn't be as far, right? If you take a look at this right here, you can see year-to-date returns negative 20.46%. Okay, negative 20.46%. Where is my tool? First January, 1st Jan. Give me a sec. Yeah, negative 20.46%. All right, so this will take a lot of time for it to actually recover since the start of this year. All right, so yes, I would suggest to not include Tesla in your watch list, okay? Since we wouldn't really have any much opportunities for Tesla, okay? See. Yeah, but if you guys really want to enter Tesla, I would suggest this is fine. You can place it right below here, and then you hold. Wait for it to break out. If you manage to do so, that'll be great, right? Because it is a lot of it's a game of patience, right? There might be a lot of consolidation right about this area before it breaks out. Okay, so yeah, this is for Tesla. Okay, let's take a look at Amazon right now. Okay, so Amazon, it almost, right? I think it was Thursday, right? Thursday, 24th July, right? It actually almost, I thought it would come up to this high over here, right? But it was just a few, let me see, 236,240. It was just $6 off the high right here. Okay, so what you could look at for Amazon, right? Amazon, I think the first level, daily chart, this area right here. If you take a look at H4, very beautiful pullback support level, right? Very beautiful. Okay, then what about the second support level? Is clearly right here. If you extend to the left, you can see how price aligns very nicely to the left side as well. So we have multiple touches for this key level. Okay, since we have multiple touches for this key level, what you could look at is if this pullback support doesn't work, right, then you can DCA from this level as well. All right. So these are the two levels. If I were to use fit, let me see. Yeah, should be. Oh, this is not my fit. This is okay. All FIPS. You can see this level actually aligns very nicely with the 61.8% fit retracement level. Very, very nice. Okay, so this adds to our confluence. Firstly, it has multiple touches. Secondly, right, we have 61.8% feeble retracement level. Okay, then let's take a look at, okay, still bullish, right? Price is above all of the EMA levels. Okay, so this indicates bullish momentum, right? Then if you were to take a look at, let me see. Yeah. So these two levels are where I might take buy positions and to continue to DCA into Amazon, right? Because if you take a look at Amazon, it reacts very nicely to pullback support levels, right? So if you manage to catch prices around 226 and 217, right? So these are levels that I'm looking at for Amazon. Very simple and straightforward. Okay, if you take a look at H1, if you take a look at H1, H1 has really broken past the previous lows and could potentially come down even further to have a bounce upwards. Okay, so once we have this thing called a change of character, right, then price could potentially continue to break structures over here, eventually reaching this area. Okay, hope it is not too confusing for you guys. Okay, good. Okay, yes. In any case, yes. Thank you for reacting. Okay. Okay. Now let's take a look at Google. I think yes, Google also tried its very best to reach its previous all-time high, right? But same as Amazon, it failed to do so. Okay, so the next level that I am looking at, right, for H4, let's take a look at H4. Well, actually, Google has quite good potential. If you ask me, I will continue to scale in here as well as, let me take a look. Wow, look at this big gap over here. Can you guys see this huge gap over here? Wow, price hit all-time high, the next day is straight away open with such a great loss. So if those that didn't close their positions, they will have incurred quite a huge dent in their portfolio. Yeah, where straight away hit stop loss. Okay. Um, yeah, but you can see how price is trying to fill up the gap over here. Okay, so apart from just buying, right, you could potentially have a sell opportunity right at this area as well. Okay, once price fills up the whole gap, then you could possibly sell standard box rate. Okay, this is my first support. Okay, could possibly scale in for buys over here, and I think, yeah, I think that's is the best that I can look at. Yeah, or right here. Okay, So why I chose this as my second area to buy is because we have so many levels that it tapped, right? So it shows that is a reliable overlap support level and could possibly uh rise up from this area. Okay, so apart from that, right, if price doesn't come to any of these levels for us to enter buy trades, then we might want to take a look at sell opportunities, which is this supply zone over here. Okay, why? It's because once price fill in this whole gap, okay, price already halfway there. All right, once price fills in this whole gap, there is a huge possibility that it will fall. Okay, so waiting for price to, wow, price is not coming back down. I want it to come back down to this first support level to scale in to at least come up to this previous high. But let's be patient, right? That's why I don't have any positions on Google at the moment, right? Okay, so I think it's, let me see. Yeah, this is a nice opportunity. H4 looks good. H4 looks good for buys if it actually happens, right? You can scale in some buys over here. Yeah, but let's see. All right. So your buys would be 191.5 as well as 187.7. These two key levels. Okay. So usually what I will do is I will take note of the prices, right, by adding alerts. So once price is close to these levels, then I will have a notification on my phone, or I will just look at it every evening, all right, before I before the next day, all right, see where price is, right? So I'll mark out these levels. If it doesn't come back down, go next. All right, so I'll just analyze these 7, right? Don't want to make it too complicated to have so many stocks, right? Usually I will just have 5, right? 5 positions, okay? And this is for generally for the long run. I seldom day trade stocks. Day trade mostly FX pairs and etc. Right? Because stocks day trading is, you can see the spreads is pre-market and current price. It's quite ridiculous, right? And you wouldn't know. You have to wait until reorg session, then you will be able to see how price reacts. So yeah. Okay, now let's take a look at Meta. Okay, the last stock for the Max 7. All right, so for Meta, you can see how price is has really, it's a little bit confusing, right? If you go to H4, we have such a bearish candle. Okay, once we have such a bearish candle, but where is a opportunity where we might be able to enter, which is this level over here. 682.59. Okay, 682.59. And I would suggest to buy fractional shares of Meta, right, instead of buying the full share, right? Because I'm not sure which brokers that you can see. I'm not sure which some people use different apps, right? But you can try to buy fractional shares or you can just day trade. Okay, so for Meta, first support is right here. Okay, then where is our second support? Very clearly is over this area. Very nice pullback support level. Okay, so these are my 2 levels for Meta. Hopefully price breaks past this low. Once it breaks past this low, okay, then this is our buy zone. All right. Let me see. I'm very sure that there is projection over here. I think might be Yeah, about 100% fit projection. Okay, so this level, extended green box. Okay, this level very beautiful buy opportunity for, yeah. And if price were to break past, right, then you can draw an extension. Let me see. Yeah, see, 127.2% fit extension level. So this, if price breaks past this low, okay, it will most probably come down and come up, at least, right? Because we have such a, once we have such a bearish candle, most probably it will leave behind a fair value gap. So once it comes down, we can enter and at least target this fair value gap. So my position would generally be something like this. Enter right here, stop loss, place below. Okay, TP right at this high over here, 1:4. Very straightforward meta trade. So let's see how price will react to this area. Yeah, very close to being oversold already. Right, so once it's oversold, you can see, let me see. Yeah, you can see once price is oversold, right, then it will have a bounce upwards. Again, right here, oversold, bounce upwards. Okay, so RSI actually works pretty well with uh stocks, RSI and stochastic together. Okay, yeah, daily we are still bullish, Ichimoku clock still bullish. All right, but H4, as you can see, right below the bullish Ichimoku clock, then H1 definitely bearish already. Okay, so this is my key level to enter buys for Meta. Okay, so for the fun of it, right? Any questions so far? Right? If you guys have any questions, just type it in the chat box and I will answer your question. But if not, right, let's do maybe two stocks that you guys have in your portfolio, or want me to go through with you the technical analysis of it. All right, so just simply type in the chat box right here of any stock that you guys want me to go through. Okay. All right. Anybody have any stocks that you guys want me to go through? Yes. Okay, if not, right, let me show you guys one stock that I am actually looking at. I think it's no, what is it? What is that stock? Let me see. Yes, I think it is Palantir. Is it Palantir? Yes, okay. So let's take a look at Palantir. Okay. Previously, I actually scaled in to this level right here at 145 last week, right? Very beautiful pullback support level. Okay, so when price, you can see right here, let's mark out our two support levels. Okay, very simple stuff. Two support levels over here. Okay, so if I were to mark up my feed, right, we have 50%. Okay, so if price goes below this level, right, we are targeting this first, second support. I would suggest to wait for price to come down to this 145, right? Before we enter any buys, right? Because it aligns with the 50% feeble retracement level. Okay, then the next thing is also, let me see, yeah, I think this should be it, right? Let's see H1 is, yeah, but I think it might take a while for Palantir to reach 145, right? Because right now it's consolidating, right? Let's see how the markets will react. First obstacle is to break past this level. Once it breaks past, then we might be able to look at 145. This area to buy from 154, right, is a little bit risky. So I would suggest not to enter right about this area. Yeah. Okay. So this is what I am looking at for Palantir. Okay. Any questions so far? Any last stock before I end off the session? Coin, Bitcoin. Oh, Coinbase. Oh, okay. Okay, let's take a look at Coinbase. Oh, actually, Coinbase quite interesting. Coinbase, I think very, oh, this level. Coinbase. Oh, Coinbase is actually quite interesting. Okay, I think if I were to enter Coinbase, right? Let me see. Yeah, I think I would enter Coinbase at 348.4. Coinbase, I think very simple for Coinbase because we have multiple touches this area, right? We have many touches right here. So 348 will be a good level to buy from. Okay, 348. Then if you want to enter 348, right about here, stop loss place below here, and continue to target the highs, right? Because I don't think Coinbase is improving a lot. They have a lot of events and promotions for the users. That's why we have seen quite I think January, if you look at where is it? Where is it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so if you look at Coinbase, right, they have a lot of if you do a check on them, they have a lot of events and promotions that they are holding, right? And then they are coming up with a lot of uh they are adding a lot of new stocks into Coinbase as well. All right, so sometimes you read the reviews, oh, Coinbase is bad because of the fees, blah blah blah, right? But if you do deeper research, you can see that they are improving based on their systems and etc., customer service, all that, right? So once we have positive sentiments, we can see a positive outlook for the stock also. So based on just technical analysis as itself, right, this level would be my buy area for Coinbase. If not, this other level as well. I draw this area because it makes more sense to have a box, to have a demand zone rather than a single line. But this one is very clear that it should just be a single pullback support. Okay, so this shall be two levels that you can look at. One is about 345, 345, and then the other level is about 305. Okay, so you can just look at these markings over here, 345, and then the next one is 304. Okay, so Cleon, you can just scale into Coinbase if once price comes down. You know, sometimes you can predict one. Let me show you what I mean by predict. You can see something like this, right? Then it will most probably make a head and shoulders pattern, at least to this level. Some people call it QM, some people call it like head and shoulders, something like that, right? But if you look at, yeah, so if you look, see that it could be a potential head and shoulders pattern, right? Then your target should be at least this area from here, from 345 all the way until 381. Yeah, so but I would say some don't predict but react. Okay, don't assume that price will come here and confirm come to this area. It doesn't work that way. Just it's just an assumption. Okay, so just have proper risk management. Okay, then the last one. Okay, BTC USD. Okay, BTC. See BTC USD. Okay, I think we just use OKX. That's fine. Wow, BTC is a bit messy. Let me see Binance. Okay, let's take a look at BTC USD. Okay, I would say, right, if you look at daily, so messy, right? Even if you trade BTC USD, even if you trade BTC USD, right, I would suggest to only go for the lower time frames. Okay, but for now, let me see. H4. BTC already had a missed opportunity. You can see right here, fair value gap tapped in these levels. Then if you were to look at H1, H1 also very nice, very, very nice area. Huh. This could be my supply zone. Wait, maybe I can find an entry. Okay, supply zone, H4, H1 supply zone. Okay, if you were to do a refinement, I think your refinement would be this level over here. Okay, so I will technically wait for price to come to this area. You can see how price is creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So higher highs to this level, hopefully coming up to this first supply zone. Then you can enter, right? Let's see. Yeah, I think it's very, yeah. So this level right here, we have assuming right, price is very bullish, comes up to this 161.8% extension level. Then you see how price reacts here. We want it to stay within this supply zone. Okay, even better if it just closes below. Okay, then how should you enter? You enter shorts. Stop loss placed above here. TP target the previous low. 1:2.9. 1:2.3. Yeah, this is for our BTC USD. Okay, I think oh, and if I'm not wrong, 78.6. Yeah, right about this area. 78.6% Fibo retracement level. Okay, so once we have these two confluence together, this will be a nice area to sell off from. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, that is all from me to you guys. I hope that you guys are able to understand the technical analysis part and also understand a little bit more of the fundamentals for these stocks. Okay, so I hope that you guys enjoyed the session as much as I did. All right, so yes, that's the end of my session for the Max 7 scorecard. Okay, thank you guys. Stay safe and trade safe. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye bye. Okay, bye guys.